Hello, Cock. We're more than halfway through the season, so we're going to update his Premier League predictions and Championship and League One, but I'm doing this one first. And when I look at my... Jesus. Get your haircut for a start. But when I look at my actual predictions from start, they're not that bad. I don't think. I mean, apart from Fulham going down. Southampton and Leicester are crap. Ipswich maybe had slightly too high. Right, the Forest one looks horrendous because I've got them, what's that, fifth bottom. But everyone else had them to go down. So in hindsight, this is actually a fantastic prediction. Everton way too high. Wolves way too high. I thought, and you put Forest and Fulham higher up. But Bournemouth, I think, were quite a good shout. I think Palace will end up going up a little bit, maybe. I got the Newcastle above Villa thing. Maybe I'd overshot Arsenal, undershot Liverpool, overshot Tottenham. Maybe I'm just shit. But it's always hard, isn't it? Because you record all that stuff before you've seen anyone play. Or before they've even got the transfers in and all like that. So I'm just making excuses. You know what? Shut up. How was that? I don't see your predictions. Anyway, this is where we're at. So we've got down. So I'm going to put 3 in there. You scrape it sides. Still be like... I might put 2 in there. I think there's 5 sides that are really, really crap. You've got your doing noughts in middle. That's the majority of teams are going in there. 1 for Conference League, 2 for Europa League, your 3 at Champions League, and then your eventual good. For the sake of viewer retention, I'm going to start with doing nout and then work up and leave it till your winner and you're going down last. But the first doing nout, which might be quite harsh because I think they'll still finish fairly high up, is Bournemouth. Bearing in mind this... Like Bournemouth, I think will finish 8th based on my predictions that I've got in front of me here. I think only 7th gets Conference, Europa League, 6th and 5th. Unless like Premier ends up being like one at highest coefficiency ratings and then it goes down to like Bournemouth finishing 8th would then get in there. But you know, just to keep it simple, I'll stick to 4th at Champions League, 2 Europas and 1 Conference. But yeah, Bournemouth I've got there. Mainly because, I mean, the date is currently 8th of January. The striker's got a foot injury, so he's going to be out for a little bit. And I always think Bournemouth, as good as they are, and obviously they've got Premier League money and stuff like that, and they're not going to be paying ridiculous wages, a lot of their players are quite young, and there's always risk of exceptionally good young players in Premier League playing for a side like Bournemouth. No disrespect to them, but it is what it is. You've always got the chance of, like, Kirks is going, you know what I mean? Zabiani, that centre-half going. Evan Nilsson, even though he's only just got it, he might go. They've got so many good young talented players that I worry for him that they could have 1 or 2 of them taken off him in January. And then I've still got to finish in 8th. It just looks harsh because they're so far down on the table. But I've still got these finishing 8th. That's a ridiculously good year for a side like Bournemouth. And it might sound harsh, and it might be like, you're only a Barnsley fan. Like, I know, but I've still got eyes, and I know how football works, you'd like to think, or current state of football with Premier League. And it's if you're any sort of threat at top 6, they will come and get you. So I think they'll marginally miss out on Conference League. I would genuinely like to see them get in there. I would like to see one at smaller sides that's not been in Europe probably ever go and do it. So I am rooting for him in that regard, but I think they'll just miss out. But 8th, again, is a ridiculously high standing for Bournemouth. Then working down, I mean, I've got Brighton in there as well. You never know with Brighton, do you? You could, like, obviously they got a Europa League over here, didn't they? Or was it this year? I can't remember. But either way, you could have a Europe. I think people probably have them down here as well, but I've just got them in solid 9th, mid-table. 2 League One sized clubs just sat at mid-table in Premier League. Must be nice. I wish my owners loved me. I do think there's serious potential for, like, next year for Brighton. That they could push on a little bit. But they're doing really good. They're drawing a lot of games, aren't they? But I just think it's hard to take that next step. I think De Zerbi is a better manager than what Brighton have currently got. And I think this squad that Brighton have got is probably better than last year's. They've obviously gone for it big time at summer this year, Brighton, and I probably did expect marginally better from them if I remember my predictions right. And they'll just look. I might just be waffling there. But at minute, the 10th, I think they'll finish 9th. I think they'll finish 1 higher than they currently are. Next, another one of smaller sides in this league. I think Man United will finish 10th, which I think I had them 8th. I think you could literally find any prediction on the web. I genuinely think I had Man United the lowest. I think I had him 8th before the season started. No, I'm lying. I had him to finish 7th. But regardless, I still think that is a lot lower than majority of people on him. And people pick Man United top 4, top 3. Great. I thought the Mickey Mouse Europes had been a scrape for Man United, and it's proving to be right. And it's all right saying like, oh, Ruben Amorim's come in and he's changed them to look a lot better. They do look a lot better, but at the same time, Man United are currently 13th. And how far are they off Europe? Well, say you look at Bournemouth in 7th, they're 10 points behind them. Are they going to make 10 points up on Bournemouth? No. And you could say, literally, you could say whatever you want about the size of these clubs, oh, Man United are right up here, Bournemouth, you literally can't even see them on screen. But at the end of the day, Bournemouth have got a better team than Man United have. They have. Whatever way you want to look at it, Bournemouth and Brighton have got better squads, better 11s than Man United have, despite them spending 10 times less. I do think Amram has changed them and they look better. I do think eventually they might come good. I don't think they're a million miles away, Seth, from being able to compete for like your shit Europe sides again. The main components of the team are crap. The strikers, Hoyland, I'm sorry, I've given him loads of time even as a neutral. I think there could have been something there. He's not doing enough. Xerxes, his positioning is like a rabbit in headlights. I don't think he's good enough. The defence, I mean, Martinez obviously scored a really nice goal at Liverpool, so everybody's going to forget that he's been getting raw dogged every week. You can't win anything with a 5'4" centre half. Little bit of snow. I'm surprised they weren't drowning in it at Anfield. I think the midfield is maybe like slight potential there. You have got like a couple shin kickers in there, but like if you keep Mainu and Nagate, maybe the width is all right. But at the end of the day, they're shit in both boxes. The strikers are wank. Rashford's crap. He don't even play anymore. I think they offer minimal goal threat going forward apart from Dalot at most part, and I really don't like the defence. So despite spending shitloads of money constantly, and maybe this is my like hatred for Jim Ratcliffe coming out as well, because I think he's an absolute wanker. But I can't see higher than 10th. I do not think they will claw 10 points on Bournemouth. That's where I'm at. And you're paying what, 66 quid to get in? Oh. Fulham in 11th. They're currently 9th. And the thing is, people think like, oh, you think we'll drop 2 places? But there's a clump of like 6 or 7 teams in the middle that are only like 2 wins off this all the time. You know what I mean? A lot of these mid-table sides, like Man United and Fulham, are all so close to each other that it's hard to think. I just think Man United will chuck a bit at it this January. Fulham are really, really good watch. They've been really successful in picking up the offcasts of like other really good Premier League sides and just making a team around them. Iwobi, Jimenez, Harry Wilson, Anderson at Palace. They've brought so many of them type of players in. Leno at net, Smith Rowe. Do you know what I mean? It just keeps going. They've made a killing on stuff like that, and it has worked wonders. But I do think they'll still be in this sort of clump of teams, but I don't think they've got enough for Europe. West Ham, I would have probably put them higher if the Bowen injury weren't as bad as it is. Like, he's going to be out to like end of February, isn't he? Like, broken something in his foot. Lopetegui, it's not worked. He's going to get sacked anyway, and Graham Potter's going to come in. I think the squad that West Ham have got is massively underperforming, but Bowen is the best player by landslide. And if he's out for that long, despite a good manager that I think in Graham Potter coming in, I do think they're not going enough to catch up to Europe sides. I think next year for West Ham, we could see him like finishing top 7 again, but for this one, I think that's all right. Oh, I just remember who my next team is, right? I like that I'm doing it like this because you never know I'm going to put where. I've got Tottenham next. I've got Tottenham finishing 13th. I like Ange. I think he's funny. I think he could be a good manager with the top players in the world. Like if he went to one of the super teams, I think he could do really well. But he's managing Tottenham. And he's got Archie Gray at centre half because his defenders are constantly injured. The games are so entertaining to the point where I want to just say that they'll win league because they're so fun to watch all the time. The game against Newcastle were like seriously top draw. But the miles off it, the quality that Tottenham have got is less than that of, again, largely Bournemouth. A lot of Bournemouth's players would 1,000,000% start for Tottenham. And I think, even though I do like him, the stubbornness to maybe stray away from your constant playing it out from back, from your constant eye line being stood on halfway line, going up against Isaac when you've got Archie Gray at centre half and Gordon up break. Do you know what I mean? It's lunacy, some of the stuff that he's doing. And I don't know, 13th, I don't know. But at least, well, he always wins something in his second year, doesn't he? So he's got a chance at court, but, league's a write-off. Then I have got Brentford and Palace finishing 14th or 15th. Brentford, it won't surprise me if Mbeumo leaves this window. If he don't leave this window, I think he'll leave it summer. They've got enough for a cushion here to probably be able to sell him this time because he will be going. One way or other, Mbeumo will not be here, I don't think, for Brentford next year. He's so good. They've had him for a number of years. He's going down as one of Brentford's best players ever, easily. But away from home, they're not good enough. And for a long time, I've thought they're always quite good defensively, Brentford, which they're not the worst side ever. But the amount of saves that the keeper's making speaks to the defence not being tight enough. Do you know what I mean? I think he's saved most expected goals in league, Brentford's keeper. So yeah, I think they'll still stay in and around the the mid-table note clubs, but I've got them finishing 14th. And then Palace, where are they currently? Palace are currently 15th. I do think it's about right. They're performing well, or they had an atrocious start in there, but they've been picking up recently as it's gone on. Obviously in January, which is always a worry for Palace, because they've always got really, really good players that are just quite a bit better than the rest, if that's fair to say. Eze, I don't think has even been that good this year, but the quality is obviously there. He's an England international for most part recently. There's going to be interesting, you know what I mean? Mateta's really good. And despite a really promising start and a really, really promising pre-season as well, because the way last season ended, I really thought that they'd done more than they have. But then you lose Elise and Anderson. There's interesting Gurhey. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult to berate him really, because you've lost your best player in one of your best. Well, you've lost your best player and your best striker or attacking minded player in general in Elise, and then no, he's not your best defender because Gurhey were there, but Anderson is brilliant as well. So losing the two players and still they're going to comfortably stay up, I think is another good year for him. That's where I'm at. That's all I've got for me doing notes. So I've got Bournemouth 8th, Brighton 9th, Man United 10th, Fulham 11th, West Ham 12th, Tottenham 13th, Brentford 14th, and Palace 15th. Oh, sorry for my voice, by the way. I'm absolutely battered. Right, anyway, we'll go into Conference League. Well, I had this team to finish 8th before the season started, and in my other predictions. So if you can remember that, well done. But I've got Villa. They're currently... Oh, no, this is to finish 7th. This is to finish 7th, actually. I had... In fact, yeah. What am I about? I did have Villa to finish 8th pre-season. They are currently in 8th. But I think they will finish 7th. So I think them and Bournemouth will swap by the time it's done. But again, I think I was right with this. I get a lot of stuff wrong. And a lot of it's to do with Barnsley. I said Villa would finish lower down than a lot of people had them go. Obviously, they finished 4th last year. They got into Champions League. And everybody's thinking, oh, but they're better than last year, so they'll do it again. Nobody learns, do they? Look at Newcastle. You get into Champions League too early. It's a different world, man, altogether. Yeah, it's extra games, but it's not even that's the problem. A lot of teams have got extra games. You've got cups and stuff like that. But it's the intensity of the games, which is why I think that they've not done as well. And you can say, yeah, but they were in Conference League season before. That's equivalent to playing Barnsley and QPR. Do you know what I mean? You can rotate all your team and still win in Conference League or in cups and stuff like that. But in Champions League, the intensity is so high, and you're going all of our ends of Europe constantly, coming back midweek, playing again. It's draining mentally, and I think that is the reason why Newcastle did it and they dropped off the season after Champions League, and Villa have done it as well. Like we've seen this season with Newcastle, they're obviously performing a lot better without that added pressure. They've been really good recently. I think Villa next year, because they're not going to get Champions League this time, maybe they're getting Conference or Europa League again, but next season, I think you'll see Villa have a serious push at top 4 again. But yeah, I think Villa will finish 7th. As for the Europa League, I have got Newcastle to finish 6th. And Chelsea to finish 5th. I'm struggling with this bit, but I am. That's oh god, that's where I'm at. Newcastle have obviously been brilliant recently. They are currently in 5th, so they're 11 points off top. They're only 5 points off second. You know what I mean? Newcastle. It's very tight from like your second down to, well, just second down. Literally, Arsenal downwards. It's quite tight for a lot of them teams. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that cup because obviously the 2-0 up. Obviously, last night, I'm recording this on 8th, so last night, Newcastle won 2-0 away at Arsenal. The home leg, they're not going to want to take foot off gas. They're not going to think, yeah, we've done it, we're at Wembley, do you know what I mean? They're not going to rotate the team around. They're still going to go full strength. And I think the emotional toll on potentially winning your first trophy in absolutely donkeys could take a little bit of a hit of them later down the line. But at the same time, I think this is another really good season for them. And they could go into Europa League next season as one of favourites, probably. Chelsea, oh, God, quite a rocky start, but then turning into like a super team up until recently, when they've not won in the last 4 games, 2 losses, 2 draws. They are obviously onto something serious. The manager Maresca has been good from an attacking point of view for the most part, but a lot of them players still are not up to scratch. I do think he's getting best out of some of them. The defence is a bit of a mess. They've got 8 keepers and all of them are crap. So maybe they, who knows? And especially because it's January, you never know what Chelsea do. But I think they'll finish 5th. I think they'll marginally drop out. Which means that unless they have like probably the worst season from now to end of season in human recorded history, Forest I think will finish 4th, and I think they'll get in. It's what, 5-6 wins on bounce now? They're doing it perfectly for one of the. and I've said this on the TikTok as well, obviously they're a very big side. They're one of the biggest in country, Forest, taking out your top six, you know what I mean? They're easily one of the biggest in country. Champions League success, stuff like that, do you know what I mean? Financially, compared to the two teams, like, not the two teams, compared to these below you, or these, you cannot compete at all. But the way that they're set up is perfect for a side that has not got limited funds to succeed in this league. They're defensively very, very good. Like Murillo, Milinkovic, and Sells at net. The core of that defensive unit is top draw. That is top six quality. They're like whippets down the line. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, pace down your whips, and you've got a striker up front who, if it falls to him, he knows where it is. They are perfectly set up for a side that ain't just got the ability to go and drop 100 million quid every 6 months, even though they did break financial rulings to stay up in first place. But yeah, I think Forest will stay there. I'm going to leave my title race and I'm going to go down to the scrape bits now. In fact, we'll just get the relegated sides out of the way first. So, Leicester and Southampton are definitely done. I said this, when Leicester sacked Steve Cooper when they were outside at bottom 3, God himself knows what Leicester expected. Yeah, the football weren't good, but you were grinding out results. I don't think anybody could have come in and saved them. And I'm saying this like, they're only on 14 points. What, 2 points of getting out? But they've lost 5 on bounce and they look shit. The squad's crap at the end of the day. Whoever's in charge. I think Steve Cooper he got a tough gig, really, there. Because I genuinely thought, despite the performances not being that good, the points tally were, and that's all that matters. And I thought we were doing quite well. But yeah, they're going down, and Southampton are just embarrassing. So that's 20th and 19th sorted. I've been a big advocate for these boys, and because in my mind, if Ipswich can't do it this season, then there is no hope for any newly promoted sides without parachute payments ever staying up again with the current way that the money is distributed and how big the gap is between 17th in Premier League and top at Championship. It's absolutely ridiculous at the minute. They are currently third bottom. The level on points with Wolves, the 1 point off Everton, Ipswich. Out of these 3, Everton I think will finish highest. And to be fair, if Everton go down now and we go up, I'm going to be fuming. Because I won't get to go to Goodison. And you know what it'll be? First game, Everton versus Barnsley, lol. And we'll be first game in their new shit ground. But yeah, I think, obviously they've got no win for it. You've got a striker up front who wears knickers and bras and Calvert-Lewin. And Jai's very, very good, but he can't do everything on himself. I just think from an attacking point of view, Everton are absolutely horse shit, which they are. But you've got Pickford in net. Do you know what I mean? Defensively, they're quite good. They play like terrorists, but keeps you up. It's kept them up year after year. They've not had serious attacking talent in a long time that I can remember. Everton. Probably since like Lukaku. I cannot remember a decent strike partnership that they've had for years. But defensively, since Pickford's been there, and like the defensive like Tarkowski, Bramthwaite, you know what I mean? Them type of boys, they're always a good bet for a clean sheet. Do you know what I mean? They don't concede a lot of goals, which they've done. You've got to go up to Newcastle in 5th that have conceded less than Everton. That's the standard of their defensive unit, and I think because of it, that is what will keep them up. So I'm down to either Ipswich or Wolves to go down. There's something that is just not letting me do it. I've tossed and changed a little bit as season's gone on, and especially when Ipswich were on that really bad losing streak. But recently, I just can't let it go. I can't. I think Ipswich will stop up and Wolves will go down. I mean, recently, the form of these two isn't even that bad for, like, last 5 games. They might end up catching up somebody like Man United. Wolves have got something to a different level than what Ipswich have got. They've got Cunha, and they're going to keep Cunha. Apparently, he's going to sign a new contract. I don't know if he's done it yet or whether that's just absolute baloney. But they've got Cunha. Ipswich have got a lot of very good players like Leif Davis, Morsey, you know what I mean, Hutchinson. They've got a lot of very good players. Delap is their man. If they stop up, I think it'll be largely down to him. But there's Delap here, who's a very good striker, by the way. Delap is like a top 7-8 striker in this league. I think he's very, very good. He's like here. Cunha, mate. Right to the very top. Cunha is at a different level. I just think defensively, Wolves are so shit. And apart from like, at the last 3 games, they've only lost 1 and they've won 2 of them and drawn 1. Apart from them games, Wolves are so crap defensively and I can't let it go. Whoever they bring in, I don't think they can patch that up that easily. Ipswich are letting goals in, don't get me wrong. But Wolves have conceded 10 more goals than Ipswich. I don't think any amount of goals from one man can stop that. I think Ipswich have got, across the board, and it dug out, more quality than Wolves have. Yeah, I'm going Wolves down and Ipswich stop up. But going to top, obviously I think Man City will claw it back a little bit, but they'll not claw it back enough to point of being top 2. Obviously they're going to spend a lot of money in January, I'd expect. But I feel like recently, they've won the last two. They are only 6 points off second, despite this being worst season Pep's ever had. They're only 6 points off the two wins off Arsenal. And I think they're going under the radar a little bit in terms of the last couple of weeks because they have started playing half decent again. They need some legs at middle of park, definitely. But I think, you know what, whatever Pep wants, Pep gets shit. So, but as for a title winner, I just can't see past Liverpool. I think it's destined for him. And Klopp must be spinning in his grave thinking, all I had to do was turn up for another year. I didn't even have to do anything and I'd have won it. Arsenal, I don't know if they'll ever win anything. Like, they've got Havertz and Jesus as the two striker options. It's shit. It is. No wonder they're playing like Stoke. If they can't score from up and play just because Saka's injured. Liverpool, obviously they've got certain issues that need sorting with like Trent and stuff like that. I think he'll end up getting dropped because his head is already in Madrid. And for a born and bred Scouser Liverpool fan to come through Liverpool and then play like ass for the last 6 months and then go to Real Madrid on a free, I think is woke shite. But other than that, Van Dijk and Salah's contracts are running out in summer and they're performing as one of the best forwards at best centre-halves in the world. They look shit up across board. McAllister and Gravenberch are playing like absolute balls as well. They're just really, really good across board. And there's nothing really that close to them. I think this will be wrapped up with like 3-4 games left. I think Liverpool will win league. So Liverpool to win league. Second, Arsenal. Third, Man City. Fourth, Forest, with Chelsea and Newcastle just missing out on Champions League. Villa in Conference. Bournemouth, Brighton, Man United, Fulham, West Ham, Tottenham, Brentford and Palace doing no tip middle. Everton and Ipswich just to survive, which means that going down with Southampton and Leicester, I have got the Wanky Wanderers. And that, my friends, is that. Right, lads, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see you in a diddly squad. Love you all. See you in a bit. Bye.
I say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.